First, our deep appreciation to the government of Qatar for hosting this third meeting of Special Envoys on Afghanistan. This is the third Doha meeting, but it is also the first. Indeed, this is the first time such a broad cross-section of the international community and the de facto authorities have had the opportunity to hold such detailed discussions. The discussions were frank and, I believe, useful. They were based on priority areas listed in the independent assessment the UN Security Council recognized last November. The assessment called for a more structured process with clear conditions and expectations for all sides. So we are pursuing a principled, step-for-step approach with a clear understanding of the outcomes and commitments from all sides. We are still at the beginning of this process. At the opening yesterday, the special envoys and the de facto authorities aired their expectations. Today, we looked at the private sector and counter-narcotics. The Afghan private sector faces enormous obstacles to its development and growth, which adversely affects the economy and livelihoods. Afghanistan also needs support in building on progress made in curbing drug collection. Running through all the discussions was the deep international concern from special envoys and from me about the ongoing and serious restrictions on women and girls. Afghanistan cannot return to the international fold or fully develop economically and socially if it is deprived of the contributions and potential of half its population. We also discussed the need for more inclusive governance and respect for the rights of minorities. There was broad agreement on the need to chart a way forward, and we in the UN are committed to continue to facilitate this process. Now, I'm fully aware of the criticism leveled at this meeting, and I understand. And I would like to stress a few things. The concerns and views of Afghan women in civil society were front and center. For the United Nations, the meaningful inclusion of women in political and peace processes is a guiding principle. I raised these issues at all our sessions with the de facto authorities, and we will have focused discussions tomorrow with Afghan women in civil society. I'll have a chance to brief you on those talks tomorrow if you wish. Now, this is part of a process. This meeting we have is part of the process. And while women in civil society were not sitting across the table from the de facto authorities the last 2 days, they made their voices heard. Civil society has a rightful role to play in shaping Afghanistan's future. We faced a very tough, maybe impossible choice in organizing this meeting. We have a mandate to support this process. Our belief was to bring the de facto authorities and special envoys together for direct talks. Regrettably, the de facto authorities will not sit across the table with Afghan civil society in this format. But they heard very clearly the need to include women in civil society in all aspects of public life. I'd like to emphasize that this meeting and this process of engagement does not mean normalization or recognition. My hope is that the constructive exchanges on the various issues over the last 2 days have moved us a little closer to resolving some of the problems that are having such a devastating impact on the Afghan people. Above all, the discussion confirmed the international community's unity and its resolve to continue engagement with Afghanistan. Now, we agreed to continue this process, and again, I'm really grateful to the government of Qatar for their support. We're considering setting up working groups on side meetings on various areas that are contained in the independent assessment. So to conclude, I'd like to reiterate the United Nations commitment to continue to support this process of principled engagement for the benefit of all Afghans. Thank you.